All right, we are back with Sports Talk Jay here on College Football Addiction. Jay, I want to ask you about this very new, very maybe trend setting. I think you mentioned this in your video. Tennessee comes out with a 10% talent fee that they're tacking onto tickets. Maybe just give us a 30,000 foot overview, and then we'll kind of break this down and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, basically, every school out there is dealing with a $30 million dilemma, and they've got to come up with that amount of money. There's a couple of ways they're going to do it. The playoffs going to play a role in that. That's why I'm going to say this until it happens. We're going to see more college football games. We're going to see an extended schedule, exactly the way the NFL has done, which there are 17 games now. They started out at, what were they, 14 or 12 when they first started the NFL, yeah. And it just keeps going because that's where the money is, extra games. And college now is going to need that because they're paying players. So that $30 million problem has to be dealt with in some way, shape, or form. The playoffs not enough. So you're going to have to increase your tickets. To do that, Danny White at UT, and my absolute favorite athletic director ever is Danny White. I just think he was a home run hire. Lucky hire. We went through all this grief when we were dealing with Jeremy Pruitt and lost our athletic director, and that was a big, huge mess. We wind up lucking up getting into this Danny White dude. And he brings in Josh Heupel, and he's made so many great decisions since he's been there. It's been absurd. And he's basically decided, I'm not going to just up the tickets. I'm going to tell the people this is what it's for, and then I'm going to make sure it goes to that, being a talent fee of 10% on top of the tickets.
Yeah. So honestly, it's not anything, and you mentioned this, other programs are going to do this. Yeah. Probably every other program in the country is going to eventually do this. Whether or not they market it well is probably the bigger question. Like if the other programs don't market it this way, they're just going to raise your ticket prices, and you'll never know or see about it, but you'll see your ticket prices going up to compensate. Now, I don't know that everybody's going to be 10%, but in so much that like they are the ones to like first get off the ground and first kind of make this move to just kind of own it. Right. And so I think, like you said, he's made some really good moves, but this is pretty, groundbreaking. Is that the right word? Like to just be out in front of it and just kind of own it, which I think he said in his interview, which I watched you had.
Yeah. Danny is the type of guy, he likes pioneering on different things, NIL, the baseball stadium, which good grief. I can't even believe how much I like baseball now. I never dreamed I'd like college baseball, but I freaking love it. And he's putting like $100 million in that stadium, and it's going to be worth it. But he's realized that if you want to win, you've got to have the best facilities. You got to have the best coaches. You need money. And Tennessee is so rabid, just probably like Florida State is, or any, you know your crowd as well as anybody. We're insane up here when it comes to college sports. We just are. It's Tennessee's the only thing we've got in the state. Yeah, we've got a professional football team in Nashville, but honestly, it's all about the balls. So if you're going to put your money into something, put it into something you're passionate about. And our fans are insane. They just are, and they live and breathe it. And they'll pay the money. We've got 15,000 people waiting on in a line to buy extra tickets for Tennessee football, and we've got 100,000 seats. It's absurd.
Yeah. So there's some pushback. There's some people that don't love it, and I've got some mixed thoughts on it and want to kind of get your take on this. The revenue, you mentioned the playoff revenue is not quite enough, but with the way that the TV revenue looks like it's going to soar over the next 5-6 years as well, I do think some of that compensates for it. Now, I do think they're going to have to continue to pump more and more and more money in it. But I've seen people react on social media and tweet and make reaction videos just saying, hey, we're already being asked for NIL money and booster money, and now you're putting a talent fee on it as well. And man, there's like billion-dollar TV contracts out here, and these coaches are making like $10 million a year. Like, why is it continue to put on the fans? And I don't think this is just a Tennessee thing. Again, this would be like a college, athletics thing. But thoughts on that, or thoughts on like the pushback of that, where the fans are like, man, how are you going to keep pushing on us when you guys are making millions and millions of dollars a year? Like, take it from your budgets or take it from these coaches that are making this absurd amount of money or however people look at it. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I completely understand it. I do. I would not begrudge a single human being that says, I'm not buying these tickets. And the great thing about college sports, you can watch it for free on TV.
Sure.
And the coverage is amazing. Honestly, I can see both things. That's why Danny White's trying to improve the live experience so much with all the crap that he's doing over there. It's nuts. But I completely understand why they're ticked off about it. And I see a team. Look, the whole reason FSU, your team, is so ticked off and trying to get the crap out of ACC is over money because
Sure.
you know you're going to be $30 million short every year being in the ACC, not only because of the playoff, but because how much you get from TV contracts. And y'all are typically a terrific team historically. You're in some sort of a weird free fall right now that doesn't really make sense to me, but I think you'll come out of it because you always do. But that's why y'all are in a lawsuit right now. Part of that and not getting the playoff. But it's the money.
Yep.
Because FSU knows they need this money. Otherwise, they're going to have to hit the fans up for it. And you don't want to do that.
Yeah. So to then counter what I had just said and add on to what you're saying, I have long been a proponent as somebody who gives to, Florida State's NIL, who is a Florida State booster, who tries to donate and support, you mentioned baseball, not just football, but really a lot of our sports. I do think it's important that people, I guess you pay for cable or you pay for your streaming, but for a long time, people have sat on the sidelines and not given back to the entertainment they're getting. Like you go to Disney, you don't get to go there for free, right? You got to pay for that, but
Right.
you don't necessarily have to pay to contribute for the entertainment of college football and, or, college athletics or even, pro athletics, right? You mentioned the Titans or whatever. And this is a way like you are giving back to something that you are getting a return, right? Maybe is the best way to say it. And like I said, people don't have to buy the tickets. You don't have to go to the games. And Tennessee's obviously blessed in a situation where there's a waiting list for people to even get tickets in a 100,000 person stadium, in which not every university has that issue or that blessing. But like you said, people don't like it. This is just kind of the way of the world. It is going to continue to increase. And I certainly see both sides too, but I mean, I get it. I get people feel like they're kind of taxed and, I think that, I think the players certainly deserve to get paid. I mean, I think NIL is a great thing. I give to our NIL, but I also think people are, man, I'm paying for these kids to drive nicer cars than I do and live in nicer apartments or houses than I do. And they're like, man, now you're putting more, you're putting more and more and more on. So I guess I get both sides, but again, this is just the way that it is. I think this is going to take over 134 FBS programs. This will soon be the way that it goes.
Yeah, it has to. I mean, if you want to compete. And like I said, I know where Tennessee is, and they're getting ready to do some stuff up here that's insane. They're going to have a hotel right next to the stadium that's going to interact. I mean, it's when you see what they're going to do over the next 5 years, it's going to blow your mind. And everybody in at UT is so fired up about it. And I don't see FSU staying behind very long. I just don't. I like to watch FSU because their fan base is so similar to Tennessee's.
Yeah.
It's kind of surprising. I deal with them in the comment section all the time. They remind me of Tennessee fans so much. And plus they hate Florida, which I do too. We have that kindred spirit, see.
Yeah.
But no, this is the way the world's going to be, and it is what it is. And if you don't want to pay for it, I totally understand. Watch it for free on TV. If you do, right there's the stadium. This is the ticket. And here's the other thing: if I'm Tennessee, you could literally put Nico tax on there, and guess what? I'm paying. I'll pay it. I'm so happy with Nico, and I hate to even bring this up. That DJ dude, and you're getting it, man. You got to spend the money on the quarterbacks and get the right one, because if you had the right quarterback, you would not be 0-3.
I'd probably be 3-0. They wanted Cam Ward, and they weren't willing to wait on him. And so, because he wanted to do all the draft stuff, and if they had Cam Ward, they'd be 3-0. Like, there's no question, right? Now, would they be a playoff team? But they certainly wouldn't be 0-3, right?
No, you would have beaten 3 middle of the road teams that honestly, weren't in your league the year before, and it kills the spirit of your team. and
Yeah.
it kills the spirit of your fan base, and that's where y'all are at. So you're going to need to go with the back. I keep bringing up FSU, but you're an FSU guy, and I follow the crap out of them. And it just, I see, we went through something similar last year, not to your level that you're dealing with Joe Milton, a good quarterback, but not a great quarterback. You must have a great quarterback, and you've got an average quarterback who to me, I don't like his spirit on the field. I don't like his lack of passion and fire that you guys need.
Yeah.
So,
He's very calm. He's very collected. He's very just chill. Which, yeah, maybe if you're I don't know. I don't know too many positions I'm okay with. A kicker, that's a good demeanor for a kicker. Not everybody has to be Janikowski, right? But you're right though. It's all about money. And if you want to compete at the highest level, I mean, that's just what it is, whether that money is, and it's needed everywhere, whether it's going to the boosters or it's going to NIL or it's going to stadium projects or it's going to renovation, whatever it's going to, it takes money to win. And I mean, that's just, there's no salary cap. This isn't the NFL, right? Like if you want to win in this sport, it's MLB. Like that's just all it is. You got to build the best roster and you got to have the best trainers and coaches and everything else. So, Jay,
one important point before we end, NIL is not going anywhere either. So not only the $30 million, you still got to do the NIL.
100%.
So, and I forgot to say that in my video today. I was mad at myself when I watched it. I was like, why didn't I bring up NIL? Because it's not going anywhere.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway.
If they'd have done things the right way first, right? If they'd have paid the players the right way first, maybe NIL wouldn't be as crazy as it is. Now it probably would have gotten to as crazy as it is. But if they would have just revenue shared from the beginning and done it the right way, my take is that NIL would still be a thing. Like eventually, like if you're going to pay players like that, they were going to capitalize on their NIL, but we don't even really have NIL. Even Dion said it, like we have pay for play, right? Like we have collectives and you're just getting paid to come to school somewhere. But, I think NIL wouldn't be as crazy today if we would have done it the right way and paid the players the revenue share from the start. But because we didn't, and I say we, I certainly didn't make this decision, but because we didn't, and the NCAA wouldn't allow it for so long, it let NIL be as crazy as it is with no rules, no guardrails, no nothing. And that's Pandora's box. Like there's just you ain't gonna tell you ain't gonna tell these big time programs and these big time millionaire donors that Tennessee and Florida State and Florida and Miami and Alabama and Ohio State have. You ain't gonna tell them like you can't pay kids anymore. Like that's just it'll never go away. Like that's just is what it is.
Yeah, Supreme Court's already ruled on it. So basically, they've let them know that the Sherman Act's going to supersede anything they do. You cannot stop someone from earning a living. And it's just those judges don't care. They don't live in this world where they care. Oh, amateurism. That means nothing to them.
No.
So it is what it is.
Jay, I appreciate you for hanging out with us again. Tell the folks one more time where they can check you out, where they can find your work.
Yeah, at Sports Talk Jay on YouTube.
Awesome. You guys go check Jay out. One of the better shows that happens here on this platform. I enjoy it. I like, you mentioned this, but I like how much you rib Florida. We're in a mess right now, but at least I've got some brothers in arms down here.
Oh, the situation of Florida and Florida State beats anything I've ever seen. Yeah. I don't hate them. I just hate them.
I feel the same way, man. Buddy, I appreciate you for hanging out, man. You have a great night.
Hey, no worries.